back to the major crimes.
Hi, is this Troy?
No, he's right here. Just a second.
Okay, thank you.
LZ.
Hi, Troy.
Hi.
This is Sarah McDonald calling.
Hey, Sarah. How you been?
I'm good.
What can I do for you today, Sarah?
Well, hopefully something very important. I found
Sure.
Kenley.
Okay.
We're dealing with something that is certainly welcomed, unexpected, but extremely delicate. I have to be careful. I have to be very careful. I have to make sure that what I say to you guys is 100% factual, 100% accurate. Your mom and I spoke, and I'm sure you guys have talked as well, but as far as names and exact locations and anything that would identify anyone, your mother will have all that information before anything goes to the RCMP. All right, but at this stage, right now, we're just sitting on it because we cannot in any way put the integrity of the information that we're going to bring forward into jeopardy. We can't. It's crucial.
Can I ask you one question real quick?
Yep.
I don't need to know the details. I just need to know if this is it.
I believe so. And I believe that we will get some results from this. The reason why my firm obtained these statements rather than directly forwarding this information off to the RCMP is as follows. One, neither of these witnesses are willing to talk to police. They made that very clear to us. And two, witness number one called Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers showed no interest. These people are completely unknown. These people are not on our radar. We're never on anyone's radar at any point in time. The phone call came from one of the witnesses that we captured a statement from this week. Mm-hmm. We have secured 2 audio, video, and written statements from 2 witnesses. But
excuse me, what happened to the third one?
he didn't show. He's going to be a problem. He is described as a drinker, a bit touchy, and a hoarder. He's going to be a problem. He's the one we need.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
He's the one we need because he's the one that has direct information.
Yes, I realize.
So in the information that we have followed, we've got the following people of interest. Mother. She's a sister of witness 1 and 2. And we have not got a statement from her to date. She's also the mother of the subject. Sister number 1, that's the one that made the original phone call to us. She is a sister to the mother. She's the caller, she's identified as witness 1, and we have a statement obtained. Sister number 2, statement obtained. She had at least 2 conversations in detail with her brother. During these discussions, the brother disclosed that the subject was responsible for Kenley's death. Why? Because he told me so. This is according to witness number 2. This is what the brother is relaying to his sister. All of this, to me, it's too elaborate to be made up. You can't have all these people with all this information and just pull it out of nowhere. I believe what's being said here by witness number 2, and I believe that's what her brother told her. Her words were, this is not about me. This is no longer about my family. This is no longer about that boy. This is about that boy's mother. There was some discussion came up about the reward. They want nothing to do with the reward.
I guess I just feel like I just hope that this is legitimate, you know?
Well, we all do, Karen.
From our position, it's like when, you know, we've gone through such pain, and it's like my only concern is that, like when I first asked you, is it solid, you know, is it 100%? And I know you can't say that, but I just want to make sure that it's not something where it's like months and months and months go by and then, you know, nothing ever comes of it. And that we were just somehow, I mean, it'd just be absolutely devastating to us, the most devastating thing. From my perspective, if we're getting information and we're told that's the only information, then that's what's concerning me. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like,
I think.
So when I'm walking away, if you're telling me, yes, we have more information, and yes, this chances of this are very, you know, which you have said that you believe these people.
I've been told exactly where your brother is.
Well, that's
as far as I can go.
Makes me feel better. I've never felt this way in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I'd know the answers, and both of our stomachs have just been, you know, flip-flopping 24/7. You wake up in the middle of the night, you wake up in the morning, and it's just I guess I just feel like if this is just not legitimate and we're just being pulled along with this for whatever reason, I mean, it'll just be devastating.
No, I can understand that.
I have seen what my mom's gone through, you know, and with this, it would be devastating.
I know.
I'm just telling you.
I realize
If this is like goes by the path of how a lot of other things have gone,
Okay, I am extremely disappointed that the meeting was canceled this morning, where I was to receive the report with the information of the location of Kenley's physical body and the information of the name of the possible perpetrator.
We were promised to have this information by today, and then we were informed by a letter from the investigator and from his lawyers that we would not be able to have this information. They're going to go directly to the RCMP.
So this is part of the email, and it says, based on the legal advice from our company lawyer, which I received this morning at 9:03 a.m., I believe we must take a different approach regarding the timing of the report going to the client, family, and the report going to the police. And further to that, Tom states the meeting for Friday, July 8, 2016 must be postponed.
You know, there's part in here that says, I realize, Sarah and Kayreen, that you may be upset with this development. All I ask is that you understand why it must be carried out in this manner. We truly have no choice legally.
A separate document will be attached to the report advising the RCMP that we do have an obligation to our client and that it is our intention to release the full report in 30 days to our client.
This to me is actually a good sign, because I feel like it's something that shows that there's a lot of potential. So it's not something I'm extremely upset about. I guess I'm probably more hopeful that they're handing over a case with potentially all of the answers as to what happened to Kenley. And if that's the case, I think it was the right step. So hopefully the RCMP will handle everything properly and we'll be able to find the remains and be able to figure out who murdered Kenley.
Thank you for calling the Nova Scotia Department of Justice Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program. We are unable to take your call at this time. Please leave your name and phone number and a good time for us to return your call, or please call us back. Our regular business hours are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Thank you for your call.
No answer. This is the second time. Phoned at 8:45 this morning. I just called again at 9:45. I will phone every hour on the hour today to see if somebody will actually answer the phone. And it's just an experiment to me, just to prove the lackadaisical, insignificant importance that is given to a service like this that is paid for by everybody's taxpayer dollar. So there's 20 missing and murdered people from the province of Nova Scotia that vital information is needed on to solve the case, to find the perpetrators, to find the remains of the bodies. And in my case, I'm speaking for the general public. I'm speaking for the families of these 20 murdered or missing people that are on the Department of Justice website. I am just thoroughly disgusted.
Thank you for calling the Nova Scotia Department of Justice Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program. We are unable to take your call at this time. Please leave your name and phone number and a good time for us to return your call, or please call us back. Our regular business hours are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Thank you for your call.
Good morning. This is Sarah McDonald calling. I am the mother of missing person Kenley Matheson that went missing from Acadia University in September of 1992. I have information on his whereabouts and what happened to him. I called this morning at 8:45, again at 9:45, with no answer. There was an answering machine. And I'm now leaving a message. It is 11:45 on July 8th. Obviously, there is no one answering the phone at this number or checking the messages. Thank you for your time.
If you are
Information. Okay, let's go.
Hi, Tom. It's Kayreen. My mom is driving.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Mom's here now. Can you just say the thing again? Sorry. About
Sure.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah. Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. I believe that's the time that is set down for me to meet with Inspector Lynn Young, Y-O-U-N-G.
Mm-hmm.
He's the officer in charge of major crime for Nova Scotia. Also at that meeting will be the officer in charge of major crime for Southwest Nova.
Okay.
They are going to be advised on a separate document that I do have an obligation to my client, and that I will be turning the entire report over to my client in 30 days.
Okay. So basically, do they have the information though today, like to at least?
No, she wants to meet face to face so I can explain everything, because she wasn't aware of the case or even Kenley's name. So rather than give them something that they don't know what it is, I'd rather sit down face to face with them so I can explain everything. I'll take the whole file with me.
And that was the soonest they could meet with you was Wednesday?
The earliest she can meet with me is Wednesday. She's off today. She's tied up Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday morning she can meet. I wanted to have the meeting today. Can't have it if she's off. I'm going back over the statements now and over this weekend with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that everything is written out for them so they have it in the appropriate period of time. I can hit on all the highlights and stress the importance of, you guys have to move on this fast.
Yeah, that's my concern too.
Otherwise, media is going to be all over this.
Yeah, and also the case, like with the family, because they already talked, and that they spoke last week and the week before, so that just gives more time if they start to question things or,
Exactly.
potentially could notify the subject or contact the mother. There's a lot of different things that could happen in a short amount of time. If the guy gets wind of something happening, what if he goes back to the property? I guess that just makes my stomach in knots.
You're 100% correct. I mean, this is something they have to move on very, very quickly.
And it sounded like he did go to Acadia, from what the brother recalled.
The brother, yes. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for everything.
Oh, yeah, I'll keep you informed when I hear, sir. I'll call you or text you, one of the two, when I hear about this. Whoever was yapping around last night.
Okay, that sounds great, Tom. Thank you very much.
I'll be in touch after I meet with the RCMP.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, dear.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Wednesday? Jesus.
See what I told you?
Oh my God. So on vacation, and
Assign it to somebody else?
Meet on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, get something on.
But it's like that powerless feeling. You
I
can't
know.
get so pissed off. Why can't she come in?
Or why
if it
can't
was-
you just assign it to somebody else? Like her,
at least get people started on
yeah,
it.
and superior. The information. Okay, let's go
Yeah.
secure the site. Let's.
What's the
I know.
What can I do for you today, Sarah?
Well, hopefully something very important. I found Kenley.
Okay.
So what I need you to do is to secure the site,
Okay.
and I need you to take the perpetrator / suspect in for questioning investigation before any other information gets out about this.
Can you give me the details?
I can give you the short details. I have a complete report done by a private investigator with names, places, all of that information that can be turned over to you.
Okay.
But I need you to promise me that you will secure the site and take this buddy in for questioning. And I'm really concerned that if any mention of this gets to the suspect, that the potential of him committing suicide, leaving the province, potentially shooting somebody else that gave the information on him is extremely high.
Yeah.
So do I have that
So what
promise?
information do you have, Sarah?
Oh, I have the information. I have all the information except I don't have names and place.
Okay, so where's Kenley?
Kenley's in a ravine, in a gully area, in a swampy place with water in the Wolfville area.
Okay, so do you have an address?
No, the investigator would not give me the address
Who's the investigator?
The investigator is Tom Martin.
So I can get in touch with Tom Martin and he can provide me with some details?
He can provide you with every detail we have. But I want you to promise
Yeah.
that this will be contained today.
Okay.
Is that a promise?
Well, Sarah, I can't make that promise. I don't know what we're talking about. I have to get the details. Certainly, if I have information that, I believe that Kenley's remains are somewhere, then yeah, absolutely. We're going to take every step possible. We're going to contain the scene. We're going to treat it like a crime scene. Obviously. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, the other thing I want you to promise me is that I want to be on the actual spot where Kenley's remains are. Like, I just want to touch it.
Okay.
Can you promise me that?
Sarah, that may not happen right away. That may not be the first thing, because if it's a crime scene, we need to take steps and precautions to preserve any evidence. So
I agree, but before his body is actually excavated from the site,
okay.
I want to be there to actually touch the site. Can you promise me that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I also want you to know that I am acting against the advice of Tom Martin, of what he advised me to do. I also contacted a criminal lawyer for myself to advise me on what to do. And the criminal lawyer advised me to phone you as my local contact because the criminal lawyer was also very disturbed about the fact that the case was going to be left until at least Wednesday, so you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before there's any action taken whatsoever.
Okay, Sarah, leave with me. I'll be back in touch as soon as I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. How did I do?
My heart is in my throat. And I guess I was very naive, feeling very naive right now to think that this, not like it would be easy once it was turned over to the RCMP, but like how much harder this has been just today. And today has felt like 6 months, just from this morning, from getting up this morning. And I just always think like, what if it was their brother? Like, who do they think we are? Why do they think that they can, treat our family like this? This lady that's on vacation today, like, I just feel like saying, fuck you, because if this was your brother or your son, there's no way. Like, what if someone told you that they were on vacation, and it doesn't matter to us that it was 24 years ago. And because time has no bearing on this, it doesn't make it right. And I cannot understand that, to be told that. It makes no sense. And I would love an explanation from their perspective. And that's my thing, like even with our previous RCMP detective, and I told him that. I was like, and I'm not that person. I don't want to make people feel bad, but what if this was one of your 4 sisters? Like, how would you feel? Would you not read those files? We have never had access to the files. What if he was told he couldn't read those files? So there's no empathy, and I'm not sure why. I don't get that.
Hello.
Sarah,
Hi.
it's Troy.
Right.
Sarah, I spoke with Tom Martin.
Right.
He's not completely finished his report. He's still working on it as we speak. He did provide me with some of the details. You still there?
I'm here.
Okay. So he did provide me with some of the details. Now, Sarah, the information he has isn't to the point where we can go out this afternoon and arrest somebody or start excavating somewhere, okay? Having said that, it is very good information that we're starting to work on right now.
Good.
But as you know, it's going to take some time, okay? I would say we're at a point in this investigation that we've never been at in the past.
Oh, I
Okay?
know that. Like, you don't have to tell me that.
Yeah. So what I need from you, okay, is and as you know, that we need to keep this information, what you've been providing, what I've been providing so far, we need to keep this close to our vest, so to speak.
Okay, I understand that, Troy, but as I was
Okay.
talking to you earlier today, we are looking at least 5 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before it is
Yeah.
even looked at, approved, right?
Well, there's nothing to look at right now.
Okay.
Gary Martin is still working on a report. I'm hoping to meet with him Monday. I have a message to him to move that meeting up to Monday. I'm available. Sarah, I'll tell you what, I was supposed to be off next week. That's changed now because of
Okay.
this information, okay? That's how, I just want you to know how important I think it is.
Well, I think it's really important too.
Of course you do. But Sarah, we have to do it a certain way, okay? And I know you may not be thrilled about that, but it's the way it has to be done.
Okay, Troy, I am totally with you on the confidentiality part of it.
Good.
I am totally okay with the fact that it's Kenley, and
Yeah.
that if we find him in a month's time, that's fine. I don't really care if the perpetrator is ever found or ever charged, personally.
Okay.
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 But what I'm telling you, and what I've told you earlier, is that
Yeah.
there is at least there's like 6 brothers and sisters in the brother-sister family. There's the suspect and I think 3 sisters in that family. There's at least maybe 10 people in my family know now.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I told you before is that the ripple effect is probably at 100 now. So the fact that I don't say anything, it could be meaningless.
Yeah.
The fact that one of these sisters says something to the suspect, the fact that the mother finds out, which at this point in time I don't think she knows, and calls the son, which I would do in that case, and sets him up as, there's something on the go. The fact that any one of these people in this 100 ripple find this out, the media could find out. Actually, I could potentially phone the media right now because I can tell anybody anything I want, which I'm not going to do, as a matter of fact, but that can happen.
I know what you're saying, and based on what I know from Tom Martin, I do not believe that has a very good likelihood of happening. So we are going, like I said, this is, we've never been here before. There's certainly some very, very good information here. It's not as polished as we'd hope, not as we'd hope, but as it could be. But that's what we have to do. Now we have to work it, right? And that's what we do, and that takes time.
Okay, Troy, you are being handed this on a silver platter, okay?
Yeah, I
It's
realize
you
that.
realize that it's polished or it's going to take some work. You're being handed this information on a silver platter.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, sir. You have as good as weekend as you can, and we're gonna be working away at this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Troy.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
We blew it wide open today anyway.
I'm here in Arizona, and I'm just speechless with how everything has developed since this tip came forward in June. Today is August 18th, and I talked to my dad last night, and he told me that the RCMP in charge of the case on Monday told him that there is no case. He hasn't even tracked down the subject yet, the person of interest. And to make that determination at this point without even speaking to that person is ridiculous. I mean, just none of this makes sense to me, and I can't even express myself, like how frustrating
and discouraging, and like just the sinking feeling in my stomach. It's horrible. They've also initially promised the RCMP that there would definitely be a search of the area that was indicated by the people that came forward, but he wavered on this when he spoke to my dad on Monday. I'm just beside myself. Why would these people come forward if they didn't have any information? It's been 6 weeks since they found out about this person, and they still haven't talked to them. At the beginning of the week, they actually couldn't find this person who lives in a very small area of Nova Scotia in the valley. And they put that off again until next week, according to conversation with my mom. So they couldn't nail that down this week. I just can't imagine how they're trained, to do an investigation this way. I don't understand it. I wish I did. It's just so discouraging.
Hello?
Hi, child.
Hi, Mom. You're on speakerphone in my car. Dwayne's here, too.
Okay, that's good. I know.
So don't say anything too personal.
I'm not, but I know who the person is.
You do?
I do.
Who is it?
Jason Kenny.
Jason Kenny. K-I-N-N-E-Y?
No. Kenny.
Who told you?
Troy.
What else did he say?
He is going to see the people with the property on Monday. He's been down, and if he has permission, he's going to go in next week.
Really?
The whole place is a ravine. They're going to do a grid search. The dog is going in.
Wow.
Okay, Dave has just turned the camera on. We've been here with Sandra Fraser. Today is Tuesday, the 28th of June, 2016. It's just a little bit after 11 a.m. We're here today, as I said, regarding a complaint of a missing person, Kenley Matheson. The statement date is today, Thursday, the 30th of June, 2016. So, just because we're on record here, today's Tuesday, July the 5th.
Yes.
We're in Brooklyn, Nova Scotia, or handy to it. Okay, the preamble to the statement is you are providing this statement to a private investigator, not to a police officer. You are not obligated to provide a statement at this time. Any statement you do provide must be of your own free will. Are you providing this statement on your own free will, Randy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you've started the written portion of your statement with on June 14, 2016, my sister and I were talking on the phone. Something was upsetting her. She told me that she had a secret that she just couldn't keep inside any longer. She wanted me to listen to her. She asked if I knew of the boy who went missing back in 1992 in Acadia. I told her I remembered that incident very well. She told me that she thought she knew where he was and who was responsible. She said that my brother Randy had told her about 10 years ago that our sister Suzanne Kenny came to him in a big dilemma. She was holding her wrists and twisting them all in a panic. I do not know what she told my brother exactly, but it led him to believe that my nephew, Jason, had done some harm to another young man. She was freaking out and saying, "You don't think my son could have done this, do you?" Apparently, Randy went to see Jason and confronted him at that time. It is my understanding that Jason did not deny it, and when Randy went to leave, Jason smiled right at him and said, "They will never find him." I was horrified to think this could be true. Selena told me that they had discussed the incident again recently, and she was so upset about it that she called Crime Stoppers tip line and they showed no interest. So I took it upon myself to find a way to report it to somebody who would take it seriously. I found the name of the private investigation company whom the family had hired, and I contacted them. Okay.
That's probably about it, guys.
Alrighty.
I'll read it and see if it's...
May I read it out loud just to
Yes,
make
you may.
Okay.
Or do you want me to? Because I wrote it. It's probably...
Sure.
There you go. I, Randy Saunders, remember a conversation with my oldest sister, Suzanne, concerning her son, Jason. She told me that she thought that Jason was interested in a girl at Acadia University, and she expected that another boy was competing for her affection. I said, "Yeah, so?" Then she proceeded to tell me that she had suspicion that Jason may have done something to thwart the efforts of his competition. I say, "Like what?" And she says, "I don't know. But will you talk to him? I fear," she said. It was a long time ago, but as memory serves, a disturbing conversation to be sure. I was confused and upset when I approached Jason to speak about it. He was cool as a cucumber and made some short reply with a smirk that indicated that, without really saying anything direct, that something vague to the point of, "Will never be found," or "It's not going to be a problem," or some such smug retort. I can't exactly remember what he said, but it seemed to me to implicate knowledge of a bad act. That's all I know on the matter.
The missing boy. Any ideas where?
Not really. He seemed confident in his fact that would never be found. But I don't know where he would have picked. He had a devious mind. But if I were to do such a thing and want to get away with it, there's a spot on their family property that never gets trampled on. Just gets driven past, and nobody goes there, dude. It's a fucking dark, deep, nasty, dank hollow. That's the spot that stood out to me on family property. It would be easy to get to, and nobody's gonna follow you there. So, if I had a suspicion, it would be that place.
Basically, all I will write down, I can basically remember word for word the two brief conversations I had with Randy.
If you want to start where it's important to you to start and complete it to your satisfaction, we'll go from there.
Okay.
How's that?
You know that Jason had we always just say sex change operation.
We did learn that recently, yes.
Yeah, runs as a woman now.
Yeah.
And he did before.
Yeah.
Before he had the surgery, he was taking hormone treatment and stuff like that.
Oh. I mean, that's pretty daunting to pick that up. It's like anything else.
I know.
Once you start, it flows.
I don't know where to start.
Just where it's important to you. You want to tell us something, so start where you want to start.
I just want to tell you what Randy told me.
Okay.
Can I just go like Randy and then...
Whatever you want.
I said it. You're right.
Okay. I understand.
I said to Randy, "Do you think Jason had that sex change operation to spite his father?" Randy said, "No. He did it to be somebody else, to not be who he was anymore. I said, why would he do that? Randy said, you might too if you did what he did. I said, what did he do? Randy said, do you remember that boy who went missing from Acadia back in the 90s? I said, yes. Randy said, well, Jason did him in. I said, what do you mean? He said, Jason killed him. I said, how do you know he did that? Randy said, Jason told me he did. I said, do you think he threw him in the chicken pen? Randy said, I think that's exactly what he did with him. It was years later that I brought it up again. I said, we need to talk about Jason. Randy said, I believe that Canadian psycho got away with him.
Be careful here. I would do anything to find Kenley. I would go anywhere to find him. And it's not necessarily so much that, you know, he's gone, he's deceased. We know that. We know he's not coming back. But it's just the fact that he's somebody. He was somebody. And it's like, to me, like he's not important enough to look for or to find. And it's like, you know, you can't do that. You can't do that to me. You can't do that to Kenley. He was somebody.
Hello?
Hi, is this Selena?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hi, Selena. It's Ron Lamont.
I'm sorry about the reception you got when you were here, and I understand you are who you said you were when you were here, and I apologize for that, too. I will talk to you. If you knew how this has eaten me up over the years, I shouldn't have left. I should have said something way, way, way back. I feel bad about that. It took me an awful long time to come to terms with what I had to do. And it took me a long time to try to figure out how to do it so anonymously that nobody would ever know that I spoke up. I always knew that I would tell. And yes, I felt I couldn't bear that truth to my elderly, family-oriented parents. But after they passed away, it was after that I called Crime Stoppers. The conversation that I had with Randy many years ago was basically word for word. I said, do you think Jason did that operation just to spite his dad? Randy goes, no, I think he did it to be somebody else, to not be who he was anymore. And I said, why would he do that? Randy said, you would too if you did what he did. And I said, what did he do? He said, do you remember that student that went missing from Acadia back in the early 90s? And I had not even an inkling of a name. But I just said, yeah. Randy said, well, he did him in. And I said, what do you mean? How do you know that? Randy said, he told me he did. And I said, why would he do that? And Randy said it was over a girl. And I said, do you think he hit him in the chicken pit? And I was kind of just being facetious. Randy says, I think that's exactly what he did with him.
Do you think that Kenley's remains are in that chicken pit?
That's just my own personal opinion, having seen and been around the chicken pit. If I had to pick a spot around that area, that would be a good one. It's a big farm. That farm raised broiler hens by the tens of thousands for many, many years. Like, I'm talking like 5 or 6 barns, and there'd be like 30,000 chickens on one floor and 25,000 on the other floor of each barn. There's a lot of mortality in that kind of farming, right?
Yeah.
They go through every day or two and gather up dead chickens, and they raised a lot of produce. And there was some kind of pit, and I can't even tell you where it was on the farm or even if it's still there. But I went with one of them one time when they were dumping produce. And it was unbelievably horrendous. I don't know how deep it was, but there was hundreds of dead chickens and dead produce all in this big hole. It would be a good place to hide something that you didn't want found.
When the dog is in, we can't go near it. While the dog is in searching, we can go in after the dog comes out.
So like I said, he's gonna be, I don't know how long it'll be a while, but we need to stay here. I mean, I'm not even gonna go in there because it would be a distraction for the dog, and we'll let him do his thing, and he'll let me know when we're done, or if he needs me for anything.
Right.
He'll give me a call and I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Sarah, well, when he's in the woods working, we're gonna have to ask you guys to stay up there because you guys will just be trashed.
Sure.
Dog.
So this is the area?
This is it.
You've targeted?
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna go just take a walk this way, Troy. I won't be here. Yeah, I know, but can I go this way?
No.
Why not?
And I would recommend that this is private land. You probably
You didn't ask him for permission to go on it?
Pardon me?
You didn't ask John Kenny for permission to go on his farm property?
Me?
Yes.
When we originally did the search here, I asked him permission to park our vehicles on this road. But you would have to seek your own.
I asked you 2 weeks ago to ask John if we could take the dog and search on the property.
And we'll talk about that after. Okay?
He's trained to find human remains. He's been trained since 2015. So, quiet.
Can he find human remains that are decades old, or
Yes, again.
do they distinguish human remains from animal remains?
Yes, I can.
Because I know this was once a chicken farm or something, so like
Doesn't matter.
Did you guys go inside the chicken coop at all? Or is there a chicken pit somewhere around here?
Not that I'm aware of. I think the chicken thing's on that side.
Did you guys look over there?
No.
But today they're taking the cadaver dog through to see if he'll come up with anything. I hope so, yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
What's your name?
My name is Sarah McDonald.
Sarah McDonald.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes.
So the RCMP here and there now.
Yes.
Well, my heart's with you. I hope.
Thank you.
I hope you get some progress.
I hope so too. Yes.
Parents' worst nightmare.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Want to jump in?
So the cadaver dog just came out about 5 minutes ago. The area the cadaver dog was searching is in here to the left. There's a ravine that's 6 to 7 acres, which was the information I received that Kenley's remains might be in that area, might be where it was disposed of. The dog was here about 9:45 this morning. He has gone into the area twice. I just spoke to Troy Allen, and the dog, what he had told me was that they didn't really find anything.
I don't believe that any of our family is doing this for the money. When I made the phone call to Martin's Associates, I had first seen this big reward about Kenley Matheson, and that wasn't where I made my phone call. It's all about doing the right thing. I think that anybody that commits a murder should be found out and charged. Nobody should get away with murder and not be punished. My brother Randy and I used to travel to Kentville every day when we worked. And one day, just out of the blue, my brother Randy pointed at Crowell Tower and said, "You ever wonder what happened to that boy there that went missing in the Crowell Tower?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "There a couple years ago," he said, "when that boy went missing," he said, "Do you ever wonder what happened to him?" And I said, "Oh, yes." I said, "That's kind of creepy. It scares me when I look at that Crowell Tower." I said, "Did they ever find him?" And he said, "No, don't think so."
Hello.
Hi, is this Randy?
Speaking.
Hi, this is Ron Lamoth. I'm a documentary filmmaker working on the Kenley Matheson story. I'm sure you probably were expecting my call if you talked to Selena and Sandy recently.
Yes, I was. You know, there's two things about the whole thing that bothered me. And one was how upset Suzanne was when she came to me. Basically, I was sworn to secrecy and never tell anybody. Fucking years later, I told my sister I was drunk one night and it was upsetting me, and I told her about it. She told the other sister. Pretty soon we're all talking to everybody. We got private investigators and police and cold case files, and they're dangling $150,000 in front of me. I didn't even go to those people. Once I talked to the cops said, "Okay, now that you've talked to us and we're investigating again, you have to call this cold case file and tell them what you told us, and they'll start an investigation of their own. And if it gets solved, you get $150,000 cash, no questions asked." I said, "Really?" And he gave me the number and everything. I never called them. I think it would taste pretty goddamn bad to do well off of money like that. And I'm broke as shit, man. Like, I'm living in my buddy's house that he stopped making payments to the bank a year ago in December was his last payment. They're in the process of foreclosing and kicking me out. I'm just squatting where I'm at. I could really use the money. I've had nightmares about it regularly. Not one or two, like for over the last, well, how many years did you say it was, from 92?
so you could possibly see him doing something like this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know that he did, but I sure as fuck don't know that he didn't either. I think they know more than they're saying. And I think they're quite pleased that they never said too much back then. I've tried to imagine it and see how it could get going, and the only thing I can imagine is that Jason saw him walking, pulled over and said, pop in, we got to talk, and gets them in the truck, takes them for a drive. And if they were both interested in the same girl, who seemed nice and just wanted to talk so we could work some things out, the guy might get in. And he could just drive them out to the farm and park. Well, fuck, he could have, something under the seat. Or he's just a big, strong kid. I don't know how big Kenley was, but maybe if he got the jump on him, he could just grab him and choke him out. And he could just draw, and he could have had him right alongside that driveway. And he just got to pop him out of the cab and drag him down over the bank. Could have had a loose pit already ready so that he could have disposed of that and been home before the whole thing could have taken place in 30, 40 minutes. That's how I picture it going down.
I've sometimes wondered too, though, like there have been different questions about Jason's sexuality over the years, and I've talked to different people who have had similar questions about Kenley, and there is one sort of possible scenario when you think how difficult it was to be gay in 1992. Maybe one of them made a move and it wasn't reciprocated, and then to avoid the shame of being exposed, I don't know if it would have been Jason making a move on Kenley or Kenley making a move on Jason, but I could see that being, again, this is entirely speculative, but...
When you look at where Jason ended up, he's not Jason anymore. He's Aaron living with a guy. So when you asked me earlier, did I think it's possible he's gay, I'm pretty much fucking certain of it.
You believe his remains are on that Kenny property, right?
And I got no reason to believe that, except for I'd start running through my mind and thought, what would I do with it if I had to get rid of it fast and not want to be driving around? And what part of the home property does nobody ever tramp on? There's a gorge there, and maybe just because I thought, or I don't know, I swear to God I was having connection with my nephew during a dream. And that might sound crazy, but there's something in our family line that we can do that.
What did the dream tell you?
It told me something was there, and it was something wrong. As the dreams went on, the landscape changed in them, and I'm sure it didn't because there's no, I saw it in my mind as getting leveled out and reconstructed and buildings put there. And the feeling you'll never, ever discover what was there. I don't know why I got that feeling, but it stuck with me for years and years and years, and so badly so that I want to go up there and look around myself.
I'll go with you.
Will you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll go out there with you anytime.
I'd be willing to go take a poke at them there if you want to. I wouldn't be scared to.